Hey everyone, on this video I'm going to talk about work templates. Now, work templates actually have a variety of names. They're called work templates, calendar templates, and work hour templates. The name being used really depends upon where you're looking for these in the system. If you look at the sitemap on the model-driven side, they're called calendar templates. If you look into the default solution and you search for the entity, they're called work templates. Now, if you drill deeper and you look at the name of the unique identifier, they're actually called work hour templates. So, what are these things then? Well, in a nutshell, what they do is they define how many hours in a day your tasks will last. And if you will work over weekends, if you will have business closures, and if you have breaks, etc., etc. So out of the box, if we look at the model-driven side, there is an out-of-the-box template called work hour default work template. And that template has work hours set from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now you can create your own templates, and I actually do recommend that you do so that you can decide if you want to work on weekends, and if your work days will last not just 8 hours, but if your work days will last 9 or 10 or 11 hours maybe. So the out-of-the-box behavior on a new project with just a single default template is like this. When you create a new project, you won't see a drop down here for an option to choose your template. But if you have several templates, you will see a drop down here, and I'm going to show you that as we create a new project. So what we'll do here is we'll just actually create a new task and use the out-of-the-box template. We'll set our start date for the 25th. And then we'll set this to, let's set this to 5 hours, for example. And based on setting the duration of 5 hours, we can see that our start date is the 25th and our finish date is the 25th as well. Now, one thing to take into consideration is the start. Now, Microsoft has sort of hard-coded the start time of a task to 9 a.m. So even if you set your work hours to start at 8, your task will actually always start at 9 a.m. All right, so kind of having looked into this, let's see what happens when we create a new work template. So to get to work templates, if we navigate sort of to the home to my active projects on our model-driven app, to get to work templates, we'll choose settings on the sitemap, calendar templates. Here's the calendar templates I mentioned on the sitemap. And we'll land on the active work hour templates view. What we'll do is we'll click on new. We'll call this standard work hours. We're going to save it. Now the next thing we need to do is choose a template resource. The work hours that this template, the standard work hours template will use, will be based on our template resource. But first, before we choose a resource, we actually have to set those work hours for our resource. So we're going to go to our sitemap, and we're going to go to projects, and we're going to go to resources, and we'll select a resource for this template. We'll choose on John Doe. We'll select John Doe. And what we'll see here is when we select a resource, a bookable resource, we'll see an option called Show Work Hours on the ribbon. So we'll click on that, and a pop-up will appear. And for John Doe, we can see that John Doe's work hours have been set from 8 to 12. Now, like I mentioned, the task start dates are, at the moment, sort of hard-coded to 9 a.m. So this 8 would not be taken into account. Your tasks would always start at 9. So I'm going to set up a new weekly schedule, and I'm going to set my work hours. I'm going to choose a start time of 9, and we'll end our day at 5. In my case, the time zone is UTC +2. Our work days are Monday through Friday. So I'm checking off Sunday and Saturday. Business closures will not be observed, and we don't have any breaks or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save and close. And as you can see, the weekly schedule has now changed. The work hours are now from 9 to 5 p.m. So I'm going to close out of here. And now that work hours for John Doe have been set, what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate back to calendar templates. I'm going to click on standard work hours. This is the one we created. And then I'm going to choose John Doe as a template resource. And I'll save the record. So now we have 2 different work templates set. So coming back to our project, we'll create a new one and we'll see what happens to the drop-down I mentioned. So let's call this John Doe template. It starts on the 25th. And as you can see, we now have a drop-down here that lets us choose between the active templates in the system. So we'll choose standard work hours. We'll close this right here. We'll create a new task, task 1. Let's set a start date. Let's actually set a duration first. Let's set this to 8 hours. It actually automatically starts on the 25th. So now we can see that on the 25th, on the start of 25th, and on the finish of 25th, we have a duration of 7 hours. Now, if we click on duration and change this to 8, it'll still stay at 25, both on the start and the finish, because our work hours are set from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So 8 hours in total, that means that we can do 8 hours of work in a day. But if we change our duration to 9, what happens is this will actually bounce, the finish will actually bounce further all the way to the 28th, because we said that Saturdays and Sundays are off. So we're not working on those 2 days. So our task spans from the 25th to the 28th, and our duration is actually 9 hours for those 2 days. So in short, this was work hour templates. Again, they're called work hour templates, work templates, calendar templates. They're all the same thing. It just depends on sort of the person talking about it and how you look at it in the system. So with this, I want to thank you for watching and have a good one.